Hi crafty friends, I am back with a process video for the Hip Kit Club design team, and fair warning, before we start, if you get motion sick, this may not be the video for you. Full disclaimer, I have kittens. If you've followed me on my personal YouTube channel, you'll have seen the kittens, and they managed to knock my tripod around before I started filming this, and so it is now flush with my desk, and now everything I do rustles the tripod, and we get a little bit of shaky cam. So just a heads up, I'm so sorry about this. I did not realize it until I was editing the video, but I figured I'd still get it up because the process is still worth watching. So bear with me, and I hope it's not too bad and you can still enjoy what's happening. So my plan for this traveler's notebook, my assignment was a traveler's notebook layout, and I decided to use the main kit. And my plan for this traveler's notebook layout was really inspired by the hexagon pieces from the Pink Fresh Indigo Hills to these wood veneer hexagon stickers. And what you saw me do was fight with my hexagon punch. The basil stocks are so thick that my Fiskars punches just did not want to go through those papers. And so I tried to punch and I tried to punch and I tried to punch, and eventually I decided to just go with the pattern papers and punch out those, and that worked fine. So I'm punching out papers. And what I did off camera was I cut a piece of the Basil Avalanche cardstock, the white cardstock, and a piece of the patina, which is that green, and I cut it down to 8.5 by 8.5. My traveler's notebooks are ring bound. I don't actually use the notebook. So what I do is I make my layouts on an 8.5 by 8.5 square, and then I cut them in half and I put them in my ring bound system. And you'll see the photos at the end. So if you've never seen a ring bound traveler's notebook, you'll see the photos at the end so you know what I'm talking about. So now I punched out the hexagons in various colors. These are all Pink Fresh papers that were included in the main kit. I figured I would coordinate that purple paper and that kind of chevron navy paper. Those are the same paper, just opposite sides of it. And then the florals are also the same papers, just opposite sides of it. And so now I'm arranging it in a design. My photo is going to go on the left side of the page, so I figured I'd put most of the hexagons on the right side so you actually see them. And now I'm just going to glue them down. And I edited a bit of this out because all I did was pick up each hexagon and glue them down in place. I figured that was easier than picking them all up off the page and then trying to remember where I put them, which if you've watched me scrap before, does not ever work out in my favor. So now I'm cutting my 8.5 square in half. So I'm going to end up with two 4.25 pieces of paper, 4.25 by 8.5. And those are the 2 pages of my notebook. And with the cardstock being as thick as it was, it did not go through all the way. And so I had to trim it with my scissor. And I'm sorry if you hear all that rustling in the background. It is so hard to do anything with these cats. They don't sleep like normal hours because they sleep in the middle of the day and then they're awake whenever I need to be doing something. And so now they're deciding that it is plastic bag playtime while I'm trying to do a voiceover. This is also the 4th time I'm attempting to record this voiceover, and I'm just like hoping that we get through it. So what you saw me do was take a piece of that green cardstock and put it across the top of the page, and I needed that to balance out the spread. It was starting to look a little bottom heavy with all that green. So I figured the best thing to do would be to add a strip of the same paper to the top of the page to kind of balance it out. And that already looks a lot better than it did a few minutes ago with just the green at the bottom. Now the reason I had started with that green is if you look at the chipboard stickers, the wood veneer stickers that are in the main kit, it's a really pretty mint green color, and green is my favorite color, and so I thought that would be a fun element to start with. Then once I put it down and I started putting everything on top of it, I realized that it was kind of constraining me, and I almost wish that I hadn't done it. But once the layout's put together, then I really like it. So what you saw me do is go through the embellishment pack and pull out all those hexagons. And like I said, the hexagons were the inspiration for this layout. I really liked the fun hexagon, like the weird hexagon shape. Like hexagons I'm used to seeing are perfect, you know, like symmetrical hexagons, like all 6 sides are the same size. But these are kind of like long and narrow, and I really enjoyed that. And so I thought it'd be fun to play with those. So what I ended up doing to kind of balance out the rest of this page was to add a strip of that pattern paper And I do the same thing. I add a strip to the top of the page and I add a strip to the bottom of the page. And that is also, again, to achieve balance. And it's, again, so that the bottom of the page, I'm not really going for symmetry, but I figured if I have this, really intense floral pattern on the top of my spread, on the bottom of my spread. And what I did was I kind of staggered it. So instead of starting it right up against the edge of the green, I kind of left a little peak of that green paper exposed so that one side is starting all the way on the left and then the bottom is starting all the way on the right, if that makes any sense. I mean, you'll kind of see what I'm doing as I work here. And again, this is all kind of to cover up that green, because once I put that green down, I really didn't like it. And so I'm trying to do things that'll cover it up without having to start all the way over. And that's something that you can do, when you start a scrapbook page, you don't have to love everything you do. And sometimes pages take a little bit of work before you're happy. Now, I'm actually really happy with the way this spread worked out once it was finished, but it did take quite a, finagling and doing things to get there. So now I'm back to my inspiration piece, which were these hexagon wood stickers, and they're beautiful colors. There's some gold foiling on it. There's a mauve, there's a navy, a mint green, a coral, and kind of like a lilac-y color. And so I just grabbed a bunch of different colors. That's part of the reason why I used the different papers for my original hexagons, was so that I could put different color wood veneer. I don't know why I keep wanting to call them chipboard. Different color wood veneer stickers on top, and it would all match. And so my plan was to take a paper hexagon from the die cut pack and match it up with a wood veneer hexagon. And so on the left side, you have that orange one with that tiny, tiny lilac periwinkle color, and then on the right side you have a yellow with a green one and a coral with a blue one. And I just really like the way all those colors play together and how they interact. I think it looks really pretty, especially in the final layout with all those like funky geometric shapes. Not something I normally do, so I'm happy with that. So I decided my title was going to be This Love, and I used the Pink Fresh Gold stickers. These came in the main kit to spell out this. And then the love is a die cut piece from the die cut pack that was in the main kit. And I put down my this, and my plan is to put the love right underneath. And you'll see I end up having to move the love because I put all my other pieces around it, and then it just needed to get shuffled a little bit. I kind of like glue my titles down last because it's like the focal point of the page, and I want everything else to be finished and the title just work around everything else. So now I'm gluing down the last of my embellishments, which are again that yellow hexagon right next to that mint green one. And that mint green one has this beautiful gold foil. Most of the pieces in that pack have really, really pretty foiling, and that is like my favorite. I love anything shiny. So now I'm messing with the pack. I don't ever know when to stop when it comes to embellishing. I always want to add more, and eventually I'm like, all right, put it down, Tashi. There's nothing else you can add to the page. And so eventually what I do is I punch holes into my pages, but I do that off camera because I have this really archaic single hole punch when it comes to punching holes in my page. So I end up pulling out my notebook, pulling out a previous page, marking where the holes need to be, and it's this whole process that you don't need to watch me fuss with. And so I do that on camera. Before I end up actually punching the holes though, I do a little bit of work on my photo, and I didn't want to do like major photo matting just because I wanted the background to be the focus of the page. So I grabbed a bunch of scraps that I used to punch out my hexagons. So I pretty much grabbed any piece that would give you just enough to see a little bit of color popping through behind the photo. And so one of it is a Pink Fresh paper I punched hexagons out of, and the other one is that purple ombre paper that I had used both sides up for the hexagons. And I used 2 tiny strips of it, and you'll see in the final layout that it's just enough to peek out. So after this, I'm just going to go ahead and again punch my holes, and then I'm going to stick my title down, and then the rest of the layout is pretty much complete. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you come back for more videos. Thank you so much for bearing with me on this kind of struggle bus video. This was definitely an experience. And again, I hope you enjoy here. Thank you for following the Hip Club YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. I hope you subscribe to the kits so that you get all that we use to make videos and you can make projects of your own. These kits are chock full of amazing embellishments, and I would love to see the projects you make. So do follow and subscribe to the Hip Kit. Make sure you join the Facebook group and share your projects there so we can all see and interact with what you're doing. As always, friends, keep it crafty and have a great day.